So first of all, let's establish the fact that a cubic equation is any equation where the maximum power of x is 3. The graph of a typical cubic equation looks something like this or something like this. Now when you're asked to solve cubic equations, it means that you have to find the roots or rather the solutions to the cubic equation. A cubic equation can have a maximum of 3 solutions, or it can have 2 solutions, or it can have a minimum of 1 solution. So how do we find these solutions? In order to find these solutions, we have a sequence of steps. So first of all, we need to apply the trial and error method. That is, we start with substituting 1, followed by -1, followed by 2, followed by -2, followed by 3, followed by -3, and so on. Until and unless after substituting one of these, we get a 0 as a result. And 0 indicates that the number we substituted is a solution. So first of all, let's apply this. So let's start with substituting x is equals to 1. So we substitute 1 wherever x occurs, just 9, 1, and the result turns out to be 0. And this indicates that x is equals to 1 is a solution. Now mind you, you only have to show the working of the solution, and you can substitute. Instead, you can keep on substituting until you find a value which results in 0 in your calculator and only show the working of the solution. So we have x is equals to 1 as a solution. Now to find the other two solutions, we can either apply comparing coefficients, long division, or synthetic division. And synthetic division is the underrated goal. It's the easiest of the two. So first of all, let's apply comparing coefficients. And show you all three methods. I'll show you all three methods, and it's on you whichever method you find easier. So we'll apply comparing coefficients something like this: x cubed minus 10x squared plus 9x minus 2, that is the original equation, and we'll write x is equals to 1 as x minus 1, that is as a factor. And then we'll write the general form of the quadratic equation plus bx. Now we'll start by expanding the right hand side. So we have ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx minus ax squared minus bx minus c. Secondly, we'll group together the terms according to their matching powers of x. And this looks something like this: x minus b minus c. And now we simply compare the coefficients. This with this with this, and this with this, and a constant obviously with the constant. So we'll start with it. So ax cubed is equals to 3x cubed, and a turns out to be 3. Now we need to find b, or rather we find c first. So c minus c is equal to -2, The minuses cancel out and C turns out to be 2. And finally we'll find B. So we have x, C minus B is equals to 9x. The x's cancel out and we substitute the value of C. Wait a second. Yeah, we'll do so. So we have 2 minus B is equals to 9. And the B goes there. 2 minus 9. So B turns out to be minus 7. And so we can form our quadratic equation, which looks something like this. Now we have to, now by the time we have a quadratic equation, appreciate the fact we can find whether the cubic equation has 3 solutions, 2 or 1, by finding the determinant. So we solve this quadratic equation. So we can break the middle term as minus 6 minus x plus 2, and then we can factorize this as, or rather I'll show you all the steps, and minus 1 minus 2 is equal to 0, and the factors turn out to be this. And the solutions are x is equal to 1 over 3 and x is equal to 2. Now we learn to apply long division. Alright, so by the time we apply long division method, we have a factor which we found in trial and error method. And so we have this. And we'll do long division as usual. We have 3x square here. We have 3x cube minus 3x square. We subtract the whole thing, change the sign. We have a minus 7x square here. Bring the plus 9x down and write minus 7x in the quotient. And we have a minus 7x square plus 7x here. Wait, that sounds so annoying. And we subtract the whole thing. Minus 7x squares cancel out. The sign of plus 7x changes, and we have a 2x here. And then bring the minus 2 down. Write plus 2 in the quotient. Subtract this thing, this whole thing. Cancel the 2x's out. Change the sign, and the remainder turns out to be 0. So the quotient is the quadratic equation which we have to solve. And we solve this as usual, and we have done so. We'll copy this and paste this right here. And so finally we'll apply synthetic division method, which is again the easiest of all. So before applying synthetic division, we have to make a table which looks something like this. And then we'll start by writing the table headings and the units. That is the point. So we have, wait a second, let's go back to the original equation. We have 3 minus 10, 9, and minus 2. So we'll write these in their respective columns. So we have 3, minus 10, plus 9, minus 2. I'll explain this to you all again. Let's copy this and paste this here. So with x cubed, we have 3 and we wrote 3 here. With x squared, we have minus 10 and we wrote minus 10 here. With x, we have 9 and we wrote 9 here. And the constant is minus 2 and we wrote minus 2 in the constant. Now by trial and error method, we found the first solution which was 1. So we'll write the first solution which we found through trial and error method here. So first of all, we copy the value in the first column down and we write this here. So 1 multiplied by 3, let's see in singulars. So 1 multiplied by 3 will give us 3 and we'll write 3 here. So minus 10 and minus 10 plus 3 will give us minus 7 and we'll write this here. So 1 multiplied by minus 7 will give us minus 7 and we'll write minus 7 here. And then we and then plus 9 minus 7 with a simple addition and subtraction will give us 2. And then 1 multiplied by 2 will give us 2 which we'll write here. And minus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 0. Now, how can we form our quadratic equation? That is like this. We'll make arrows and which will allow us to form our quadratic equation. So 3 goes with x squared and then we have minus 7 which goes with x and then we have plus 2 as a constant. Equate this to 0 and this is the exact same quadratic equation which we had here. We'll copy this and paste this here again. So we solve this cubic equation through all three methods. And now the final thing is how should we leave our answer? So if asked to factorize, leave your answer as 3x minus 1, x minus 2, and x minus 1. This part comes from here, the factorized form, and this comes from the solution, which is x is equals to 1, so 1 goes there, and we have x minus 1 is equals to 0. We make a box around this. Let's take this. And then if asked to solve, which we usually are, we will simply leave our answer like this. X is equals to 2, x is equals to 1 over 3, and x is equals to 1. And